Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Expectations with me, Craig. Game week 23, just a few hours away. And yes, I don't know how we do it, to be honest with you. The amount of shows we've done in the last month or so, the games are coming thick and fast. But as always, I'm always energized when I have the panel on the show with me. And today we have none other than FPL Mariner. How you doing?
Hi,
We've got Joe.
Hey guys.
And we've also got Surya checking in after what seems to be like eternity. But he's here. He's with us and happy to share all of his research from All About FPL. Guys, thank you for tuning in. It's just a few hours away till the Game Week 23 deadline. We're here, as always, to try and help you navigate through the game week, tell you who to bring in, tell you who to captain, although that hasn't gone on too well over the last month or so. But to be fair, the metric hasn't been totally wrong. It's just been our suggestions away from the metric. But we'll come on to that in a bit. First, boys, as always, I want to see your Game Week 22s and how you got on. So, Mariner, we'll start with you.
Oh, thanks.
You've got your team up already. Game week 22, how kind was it to you?
No, it wasn't really. Well, I got 8 returns, so you can't complain with that. But 74 points, another 12 points on the bench makes 34 points on the bench in the last 2 game weeks. And of course, a captaincy blank, which doesn't help. And that resulted in me renaming my teams from the Brothers Grimsby to the Red Arrows.
Have you actually done that?
No, I might do, though. It might be a good bit for a laugh. But no, with all seriousness, look, Cancelo, Dean, Grealish, Bruno, although, as I say, I think those returns were pretty lucky. I think it's not very often, Craig, that you play against 9 men with 12, is it?
No. No, not at all. I mean, it was... I don't know about the 12, but...
the referee was on your side as well.
I don't know about the 12. I think the game was well and truly over by then. But then I'm not going to go too much into that. But, I mean, the first one was definitely a red. I think there was a bit of contact for the penalty. But I agree. And I did say this on my tweet. I didn't think it was a red card. Neither did I think David Luiz's was a red card. I think a penalty in the yellow.
The Luis one was terrible.
I think I don't take it. Yeah.
The issue is, though, of course, is that just had such a massive effect on the performance of all those players, on Martial, on Bruno, on everybody. So you have to take that result with a bit of a pinch of salt, if I'm honest with you. But, of course, I was on the wrong side of it, unlike Mrs. Mariner, who followed the cat and got 105 points this week. So, I know, unbelievable.
It seems to be the way forward, following Oliver the cat.
Well, it seems to be. He's right. He's been right. And I'll tell you who he's picked later on. If people saw it last night, they'll see. But, no, what are we going to do with Salah? I feel like it was awful.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't so much that he didn't have the chances. It was just when it came to him, he, it's a pale shadow of himself and didn't look like hitting the back of the net. Yeah,
there's just lots of huff and puff and no end product really for me. And as for Robertson, well, he's going to have to go. I can't afford a defender at that price with no guarantees of a clean sheet at this moment in time. Although even though the stats look okay. So he will depart soon. He's not departing this week, but he will depart soon after.
Okay. Joe, I see you've got your team up already, so we're going to come on to yours for your game week 22. Good week for you. Happy with that?
Yeah. I mean, I do see many teams with lower than 76. But, if I just scroll down, you can see why I have mixed feelings.
Bench.
James Justin. I mean, I think just going back to our show leading into game week 22, and you did mention about James Justin and how bad you felt about leaving him on the bench. And
Yeah.
It didn't seem to me like you were entirely comfortable with that decision that you were going to make in terms of putting him as first sub. Deep down, it looked like you really wanted to play him, but obviously we can't play with 12 players, and someone usually has to give. And it was James Justin on this occasion, and he returned massively.
Yeah, I mean, probably, I think this is his, if I'm not mistaken, should be his biggest haul, I think, of the whole season. Yep.
Just your luck.
Yep. And somehow I missed it. So, you know, I mean, it's just the way it is. This is FPL. So, yeah, no complaints there. At least, you know, at least I know I have a bench that I could count on if I need it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if we go over the weeks, you know, the benches have been used a lot. You know, in terms of rotation, whether it's players getting dropped, whether it's, you know, rotations in the squad, or whether it's just pure injuries. You know, it has been a case where a bench is always needed. You've got a very strong bench. It just so happened that it didn't come into effect for this game.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, just imagine if Pep, you know, it was Pep roulette again. You know, they could have quite easily have been Cancelo on the bench or Gundogan with the amount of games that he's played. I mean, it could have quite easily been that, and you could have got a return from it. So it's just one of those things, you know. And you know how I like to see it. It usually pans out over the season. So don't take it. So happy with that. 76 points. Not, you know, by no means a poor score for you. But you know, maybe a little bit of work to do going into 23. We'll come to that in just a while. Surya, we're going to jump to your team for a quick review on how you did for game week 22.
I'm all smiling.
1 points. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, finally a good week. Somehow I trusted with my gut for Bruno Fernandes, and I think that worked. Yeah, Salah's been disappointing, but then again, he's still staying, and looks like he's still staying for game 23 as well. So yeah, no complaints over that. Only two players failed to return. So I think that's a pretty decent score. Yeah, and pretty solid green arrow of 100k. So I'm back into around 200k. So probably push into the 100k the next milestone break. Yeah.
You talk about
luckily, most likely someone.
You talk about trusting your gut. I mean, you went against almost every FPL manager who had him in Mo Salah, and you went for Bruno instead. What was it that tipped it for you? I mean, this is Salah coming off, you know, 2 goals the previous week. This is a Bruno who hasn't been as effective, hasn't really got the points going for him so far over the last few weeks. I mean, what was it that kind of tipped it in Bruno Fernandes' favour for you?
Yeah, 2 things. One thing is that Southampton, even if they had almost all of their players, they do still attack against the big teams, and then they didn't have almost close to 4 or 5 starters. I felt that the game would be open, and when you offer Bruno space, I think he could operate a lot more. And I still feel okay after seeing the 9-goal margin at the morning, I was like, okay, Bruno might have got a hat-trick. That was my first thought. Yeah. But then it was quite jammy. It was quite jammy to see that he got a goal very late. That was a penalty. That was thinking. Yeah, that was. I was
just going to say that 1 goal and 1 assist was after Southampton went down to 9 men.
It's okay. I'm gonna, being a United fan, I'm going to take that 9-goal margin and the 17-point return and run away. So I'm not going to talk about
I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. I mean, you're not going to complain too much about it, but you know, fortune favours the bold, and you went with Bruno, and it paid off handsomely for you. Fair play and well done to you. We're going to talk about your moves for game week 23 in just a bit. Mariner, rolling back to you, talking about your game week 23 plans. I mean, it's one of those where it's been a week or past few days where the double game weeks have been confirmed for certain teams. How has this affected your planning in terms of transfers?
Well, it started to, for sure. And I've just got Ben Krellin's spreadsheet, if you want to put it up on the screen so that people can see. And I think it's a good point of reference, isn't it? So, I mean, clearly, as somebody who owns Leeds players, 2 of them, and also owns 2 Everton players, I'm not too bad with respect to the initial double game weeks. I think I've got 5. Started with 5 for double game week 24, and I've got 2 at the moment for double game week 25. Now, at the moment, I had 2 transfers, so I have the opportunity to make 1 move. And personally, if I look down those teams, if we start with Manchester City, they've got the possibility of 3 double game weeks in the next 4 weeks. If you don't own 3 Manchester City players, you need to. Now, whether I bring 3 in this week, I've got 2. Whether I bring another one in this week remains to be seen. Probably not. I've got a feeling I'm going to hold that. Everton, I'll hold 2. I don't think I want any more. Fulham, I don't own any. I am interested in them, though, because they do have a fixture in game week 29, which is going to be important to consider if I'm not wildcarding till after game week 29, which would be my preference, actually. And Burnley, they really interest me, but only from a defensive point of view. So they've got Brighton, then they've got the double game week of Crystal Palace and Fulham, and then they've got West Brom. 4 really nice fixtures there. So my move, as I tweeted earlier, I put the chimney with white smoke coming out. If anybody that means I've brought Nick Pope into my team, and I've replaced my non-playing goalkeeper with Nick Pope. And that now means I've got a chunk of cash on the bench, I'm afraid, with respect to goalkeepers. A lot of money tied up in goalkeepers, but it's short term. And I expect I'll be starting Nick Pope for the next 4 weeks the next 3 game weeks over Martinez. Villa's defence has gone off a cliff.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably the perfect time to do it. So that's my move now. That means then I go into 2. I'll keep a transfer till next week. That means I can go in with 2 transfers next week when I know the outcome of the FA Cup.
Yep.
Anything to add to that, Joe?
Mariner always talk a lot of sense when he talks about his moves. Stats man. So he the way he explains things, really makes you convinced. But Nick Pope, this week I see quite a lot of new owners.
Yeah.
Mainly, I think Mariner has already listed all the reasons. But one of the popular moves I see is ditching Martinez for Pope.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that. Personally, I probably wouldn't do it. Selling Martinez for Pope. Doubling up, yes. I'm looking to do that as well on the next game week. Probably not. Probably not this. I still have 2 hours to decide, but I don't think I'll do that. But yeah, most probably the next, because he is probably the best player for Burnley that you would want on your team in terms of FPL, and the fixtures are there. Pretty much a no-brainer in if you ask me.
Just picking up on something that you just mentioned, you're not planning to bring Nick Pope in this week?
Not for game week 23.
And is there any reasoning behind that?
I would,
it's such a favourable fixture for Burnley and Nick Pope.
He's already made another move.
So it has to be for the case. Yeah.
Probably I want to say this. That's my team, everyone. So yep, it's up there. Because firstly, if I only want to make that Nick Pope move, I don't have the funds. So I sold Robertson instead, and preparing the funds for next game week, where I have 2 free transfers and much more information to digest. So that's my plan. So yeah.
Okay, so you're going to stick with the Villa goalkeeper in Martinez.
Yeah, I mean,
even though the Villa defensive stats have really come off the boil, you're still not ready to make that move. Obviously, you need the funds to do it, but that will require you this week for taking a hit, right?
Yeah, no. I can do it with my second free transfer, but I probably want to give Martinez a chance against his former club. Sometimes people are
inspired.
Inspired, yes, exactly. Exactly, that's the word. So maybe a penalty save. Sorry?
You're holding just for now, or have you made a transfer?
I've already done Robertson to Wan-Bissaka, so yeah.
So you're staying with that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Surya, we're going to come to you and talk about your moves. I mean, after monster of the week in game week 22, is there much to change around in your team? Has the new fixture released or the game weeks that have been confirmed, has that affected your thinking going into game week 23?
Actually, no, because I'm quite ready for the doubles because I do have 3 City and 2 Leeds players for 24. So I'm pretty good over there. And like Mariner said, I'm not bringing in a third Everton asset for any reason. So that's not happening. So yeah, so I have 5 covered already. And I did a move today morning just before the show. I did bring in Antonio for Adams. I know that Adams has a double game week in 25, but then I really liked Antonio for this week, so I bought Antonio in. So that's one thing. I don't have any Fulham or Burnley assets, but that being said, the only Burnley asset that I'm looking into is Nick Pope, as Mariner said. One another reason, I think he pointed out almost all of the reasons. One other reason that I would say is that if there's a clean sheet, then it is automatically 3 bonus points for Pope. It's sealed. It's signed.
He's a magnet when it comes to it.
Yeah, it comes. Yeah,
that is so true. That is so true.
Yeah. So if it's 6 and another save point and 3 bonus, it's 10 points. It's 10 points already in your bag. But having said that, that's the same case with Martinez as well. He considered 3 against West Ham, but still, when I woke up in the morning, it had 4 points for him. So, so he's still making those saves. So that's the reason I didn't make a move from Martinez to Nick Pope, because of course I didn't have the funds to do steer to Nick Pope today. So that was one other reason that I hold back. So probably like Zoo said, I would be giving Martinez another chance against his former club, because he did say that moving from Arsenal to Aston Villa was a step up in his career. So I do feel
a bit of extra spice in it.
Yeah. So I feel he needs to justify that statement. Maybe a penalty save today. So I wouldn't. Probably. So that's. Sorry, Craig. Sorry. Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Yeah. So probably I'll hope for another 3-4 points is definitely a good return from a keeper. So I think I've been holding him for a very long time. So I'll be sliding with Zoo for this week and holding him for another week. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's great stuff. So a lot of different moves made by the panel. Nick Pope, obviously a very popular one. I think his price even rose this morning, didn't it? Or was it yesterday?
Yes, it did. In the world of fantasy price rises, yeah.
This morning, I think we had a huge list of price rise.
Yeah, that was a weird one, wasn't it? I think even the Brighton keeper rose.
Think of a number. Think of a number, FPL Towers. Any number. Think of a number.
All right, we're going to move on to the captaincy for game week 23. Obviously, it's a very important part of our game week, really, because there's double points all around for the person that we give the captain's armband to, and we haven't really got it right over the past few weeks. Let's be honest, apart from Surya. Mariner, Joe, we've been hurt over the last few weeks. we've trusted our gut to a certain extent, because the metric, for example, last week told us Captain Sterling. Salah, it didn't fancy the Salah fixture against Brighton, but none of us listened to it. We thought we're going to go ahead and go against it. That backfired massively for us. Are we listening to the metric this week, Mariner?
Well,
I mean, I'm
no worries.
we did not listen to Oliver as well, so
Yeah, and Oliver the Cat, who Mariner, he's been correct for the past how many weeks?
He's been right last. No, he's been skinned a couple of times, so I think he managed to get himself back into the good books of Mrs. Mariner this week.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, no, I mean, look, the safe bet is undoubtedly Fernandes this week. He tops the metric. It's very safe. But you know, if you take Man U's stats away from the Southampton game, they're still pretty good. Everton are about, they're not a simple nut to crack, certainly defensively, but they're about sort of like middling. I think it's a reasonable matchup for Bruno, but I have to say, I don't think we can take much out of that Southampton game, being honest with you. And therefore, whilst he's the safe bet, I won't touch Son with a barge pole whilst Kane's not in the side. I don't own it. I had every intention of bringing Son in, and I won't, because he would have been my captain if they'd have been showing anything like form. But basically, it's Payne with no Kane, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the moment. They're just devoid of ideas without him. You watch him go and you watch me hide behind the sofa after 10 minutes tomorrow night. And I've added Antonio in, and I've added Antonio in because his numbers are absolutely amazing. And since he came back from injury, West Ham's numbers have improved no end. And therefore, let's say Antonio's got he's got a decent fixture. He's got a bit of form behind him now, and in fact, he could have had some more returns. Really, he's been a little bit unlucky. The only thing he doesn't have, which I think stops him from topping the metric, actually, is he hasn't had a haul.
Not yet.
And I think he's due. Therefore, I think, given the matchups that I'm looking at, I think Antonio is a very, very compelling captaincy choice this week. And therefore, I am captaining Antonio. I'm going against my the metric, and I'm going with my gut again, hoping that I'm right.
Okay. Joe, coming on to this, I mean, you are a Sterling owner. It's a tough game against Liverpool. But, sorry about that. But Bruno, I touch on what I said earlier. He got his haul after the second sending off for Southampton, after they were down to 9. Is that something to worry about, added with the fact that Everton aren't too shabby defensively? Although, as you mentioned on our group chat earlier, they'll be without Pickford, and it'll be Olsen in goal.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean that's actually a good thing for Everton to be completely honest. You know, Pickford he has great reaction, but sometimes his decision making is just pretty weird. Rash, and sometimes I mean you see the goals he concedes. You know, Bruno might relish in that. But seeing how Olsen played, I think last game week versus Leeds, Bamford could have had probably a hat trick or more, but Olsen, he was phenomenal. So will he repeat that? I think he might, because he knows this is his chance to actually establish himself in Everton. And to add another thing, Pogba might be back to the side. So whether does that even dampens Bruno's output?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. So like what Mariner says, it's hard to take the Southampton game because firstly they were down early on. They were down to 10 men. So and Pogba wasn't playing. He wasn't involved in all the whole match. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just a feeling that Everton might strengthen up. Just for this game.
Okay.
Yeah, especially without Pickford. So my captaincy, I'm currently on Antonio as well, because seeing the match, Antonio, he could have assisted the first goal as well. He was basically He had basically assisted the assister. His pass to Benrahma, and Benrahma. Yeah, I mean it was a great through ball to Lingard, but yeah, Antonio was involved in all the goals during that game versus Villa. So I agree. Will we see his first double digit against Fulham? I definitely hope so.
All right, Shuri, I'm going to come to you. You obviously run all about FPL, and you mentioned the 3 players that are top of the metric in your captaincy article. Does Fernandes top it for you? Or, I know your wildcard pick out of the 3 was Antonio. But, who are you giving the armband to this week?
Yeah, so it's very, very close actually, Craig. Looking at Antonio, that's the reason I even ditched the double game week player and brought an Antonio in, for the fact that until previous season he was a target man, but this season it's quite different. He's dropping deep. He's creating those chances for his teammates. When you see Lingard making the run, Benrahma making the run, so that's a lot more added to his game. And he's been unlucky in terms of getting a double-digit call. So he's been getting that. He's been hitting the post. He's got a few second assists that's happening. So I do feel there's a very big haul coming up, and that's the reason I told Zoo as well on Twitter. I missed the big haul last season, the 26 one. This time I'm not missing it, and I feel it's happening this week. So that's the reason I bought Antonio in. But I would most likely still slide with Bruno Fernandes, because he does like playing against Everton. So he scored 3 in 2 games, and most importantly, all 3 were from open play. So there's no penalty involved over that. So there's no luck. And I did notice, of course, Olsen was pretty good for Everton. But the fact that Ancelotti mentioned that he might rotate a bit for this game week, and Everton do play open. They don't sit back and defend. They don't keep a low block against the big team. So I do feel this game gives the space that Bruno requires to operate. And I am not a big fan, or I don't buy the theory of Bruno's bad when Pogba's playing. I know the numbers collide. I think Big Man did a tweet and all the numbers are aligning, but I am not buying into the fact that Bruno negatively removes the output of Pogba negatively impacts the output of Bruno Fernandes. So I am 80% Bruno, 20% Antonio for this particular game week. But both of them are very great captaincy choice, and I do have some mountain to climb in terms of catching up Mariner and Zoo in the expectation mini league. So I will go. I will do the opposite of what those both is doing. So
you're fine. Just don't captain who I captain, mate.
Yeah. So
I'm telling everybody.
I really like it. We've got 2 of our experts going with Antonio, but which is in itself a bit of a differential. But you're following the metric. You're going to go with Bruno Fernandes, who and keep the faith with him, because you had him as captain last week. He returned for you very handsomely, and you're keeping the faith there. So it's a good differential when you talk about our mini league. But in the general, it is the man to captain according to the stats and the metrics. So so you're going with it. Fantastic, a good differential there for us here at FPL Expectations. Marilyn, do you want to add anything in terms of the captaincy metric?
Just that I put the poll out for my show, and Fernandes topped it.
Yeah.
But it was close. about 800 votes, and it was close. Interestingly
it was
enough,
close with Antonio, wasn't it?
well, yeah, but I mean, to be honest, what I did is I put it out before the Spurs game, and when I went to bed, Son was miles ahead, and the next morning I got up and Son was in third place.
Yeah, I mean, I stayed up to watch that.
People are diving off him.
Yeah, he had an absolute horror show. To be fair, as did Spurs. I mean, not just him. It was a collective performance, but it's always worrying when your star player doesn't and can't have a run at you. So I think that's the worrying bit in terms of that. But
I pretty much agree with everything what I've heard. Certainly, I mean, Surya is quite right to say that Fernandes has got a bit of a record against Everton. They are at home. They're clearly, even though they were playing against 9 men, they are going to have some confidence from the back of that. Somebody like Martial will probably have a great deal of confidence after coming on and scoring. So it opens up another route for Bruno, really. But I just still cannot get over that. As I say, it was the difference between me making a coffee and drinking it and leaving to go and play golf was between Bruno having a 4-point return and a 34-point return as a captain. It literally took me the time to drink an Americano. Honestly, the time to drink an Americano was Bruno's points. So from my side of it, that just tells me that I'm still that little bit nervous. I don't know I buy this Pogba thing. I don't know I buy that. But I do buy the fact that I was actually thinking, maybe he's going to blank, and then what?
I was exactly like you, and when United got awarded that penalty, obviously it was like a dagger. But we still had Salah to play, mind you, at that point. So hopes were still there. The hopes were still there. Although how very fast 24 hours later.
Hopes were dashed.
But I'm just going to ask you, Mariner, do we have the video for Oliver? Or not?
I don't know. Let me just have a quick look.
Because we have a few people asking about it.
Yes, I have actually. Do you want me to pop it on for you?
Go on, mate.
I don't know what this happens with this kit. I'm really unhappy. It's not black and white.
Yeah.
I had words with the missus. And look, I had to kick him up his ass twice to get him moving.
I saw that yesterday. That. Left again, yeah?
Well, he's been going the other way. I can't quite remember how many it is now. If you excuse my sunburn, I look a bit glowy. There's Antonio, look.
Antonio. So it looks like this is the week where we're jumping back on the Oliver bandwagon and following Oliver the cat.
Yeah, look at the state of that sunburn. My God.
Looking like a nice grilled salmon there.
Mariner. Well, I think more like a lobster. A Grimsby lobster. And that's the poll look. And so just to let you know. So as I say, Bruno topped it. Antonio very close by, and he was catching all the time up to the end of the poll. Yeah. And Son was falling away, and nobody likes Sterling, but I put him in there just because he was going to sit quite high in the metric. So let's see. I'll tell you what, just as an outsider, I'll just mention him. There's been a bit of a talk on Twitter about him. It's about Patrick Bamford this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's also not a completely stupid suggestion. And
because he actually played. I think he actually played quite well against Everton. It's just unfortunate,
Yeah, I think Bamford's one of those players. He blows hot and cold, doesn't he? And is he ever a reliable captaincy option? I think he's still. He's not someone you'd trust with the armband.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Well, with all seriousness, Craig, if you look at that bracket of forwards, Bamford is the creative one. He's got twice as much creation than any of the others, so he's going to get those assists.
Yeah.
And now it may be that, as Len's pointed out yesterday, that every time he plays a nice simple pass and then someone scores a worldie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he does have very good assist stats as well. Mm-hmm. So that's something that Bamford is extra in his armoury. And when we talk about that double game week, that's 25, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just watch how many people captain Bamford. Just watch how many people captain Bamford that week. There's my little tip for you.
Well, it's I think it's Southampton and Leeds that have a double game week, don't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see a lot of Ings or Bamford captains.
I think you might see a lot of Bamfords. If Ings, I mean, look, remember what happened to Southampton when they got walloped 9-0? Was it 9-0 last year? Look what happened straight after that.
Yeah. So definitely things that we're going to cover in weeks to come, or game weeks to come, rather. But we're going to go on to questions from the community. It's the segment where you ask all the questions. I've seen a lot of comments on the right-hand side, so I'm just going to go through it. Never had a chance to do it while we've been recording, rather. So Dean, first one up. He goes, how's it going? I've got no idea who to captain. Well, Dean, you're lucky because we just answered that for you. Just to recap it, the metric says Captain Bruno Fernandes. Surya is doing that. He's following his gut, and it was reliable for him last week. So he's going with Bruno Fernandes. However, the other two in Mariner and Joe are going with Michail Antonio for the captaincy this week, who is not such a bad choice as well, according to the metric. So if you're looking for a differential, Antonio could be the one for you. Hi, Kartik. How are you? And he says hi to everyone. Thanks for joining us, Kartik, as always. Thank you for everyone that's watching the stream. We appreciate it. Joe, a fashion question for you. Is this your favorite T-shirt? Yeah, I've seen it in that a few times. I'm hoping it's his lucky T-shirt as well. I might be following it. I might be following him for the captaincy pick. You know.
You could say that.
Ali Sufyan says, "Do not captain Bruno. Do a differential. Go Antonio, Souček, Son, or Bamford."
Souček.
Well, I know you're a massive Souček fan, Mariner, and you.
I am, as long as I don't leave him on the bench like I did last week.
Well, you've reaped in a lot of points off of him, haven't you?
I've left a lot of points on the bench off him.
So that's the advice from Ali Sufyan. We're going to move on. Fuzley says, ask rather, does he sell or keep Harvey Barnes?
The fixtures are turning, aren't they? Let me just check the fixtures. Let's see.
They're playing Wolves.
Wolves is all right. He's all right against Wolves. I'm not worried about that. Then you've got Liverpool
and I think Vardy should be back as well.
Yeah, Vardy's back. Yeah, Vardy's back fit for this week. So yeah.
So would you keep him, Joe?
Yeah, I would.
I don't think I'd move him out unless you've got a space for a City midfielder, perhaps in preparation for the double game week.
Okay, so keep Harvey Barnes is the advice. Astrolicious as always, joining us on the stream. How are you doing, mate? Hope you're well. Let's just scroll down. Sam's on the stream as well, says hi. The EO of Bruno will be the same as Salah's EO last week. It could very well be. Very well.
I don't think it will. I don't think it will.
It's not as straightforward, I think.
Not as straightforward as last week, you don't think?
Well, to be honest, look, the metric told. I mean, if you looked at the numbers, nobody would have captained Salah last week, would they?
Yeah, true.
Nobody.
Next is, hi lads, good evening. Would you start Watkins or Gundogan? Interesting. Now let's just bear in mind, obviously, City are playing Liverpool, not the strongest Liverpool side in the world, but then again, Villa are playing an Arsenal side with no Bernd Leno and with no David Luiz.
Yeah, and it's Matt Ryan who's fit.
Yeah, I think Matt Ryan was training last night, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yes. So
yeah. Who has a point to prove?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I think I think he was like slightly injured. Before that, he will probably just train only probably a few days. I think.
Yeah.
But tricky because Gundogan, he still has that penalty assignment, I think. So
yeah. Watkins is in form though. He scored in the last few games.
Yeah, it was a good goal as well.
Yeah, very good finish.
Yeah, he's finally starting to put these chances away. From about game week 9 onwards, he couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo, could he?
Yeah. He had that massive haul against Liverpool and then just went quiet.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is the matchup doesn't really wouldn't really go with Watkins from my side of things. I take the point about the goalkeeper issue and things. David Luiz, Arsenal might be stronger without him, quite frankly. So I think I would play Gundogan, as Joe says. He's on penalties, and he may well get one this week.
Yeah, are we in agreement there, boys?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vincent Ars, Joe, you legend. Minus 12 points again this week.
No. Not anymore.
No, he's back on his tablets.
Alison said, big up to my guy Mariner for saying Robbo got to go.
Well, he does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sam asks, Joe, how's the TV doing?
Not good.
Smashed it up yet?
Almost last game week.
Surya, big fan over here from Virgil van Dijk, all the way from Dubai, while he's doing his rehab for his knee injury. I'm captaining whoever Surya captains. So,
His job is not captain, I captain, isn't it?
While I'm asking that, over the last few weeks, how many captaincy picks have you got correct? Just asking.
One in the last 5, so I don't know why he's.
I thought he knew something that we didn't, but obviously not.
Yeah, so I think he trusts my captains more than I do. So big ups to him. But yeah, this week it's going to be Bruno, Virgil. Yeah.
Okay, Rajbir 30, sorry, says Chilwell, stick or twist. After listening to Tuchel's comments, he could rotate players and maybe Alonso bench. Now, this is something that he has said. When he first dropped Chilwell, he did say something along the lines of Alonso will be playing against more physical sides, and it's going to be a rotation between the two. Alonso has started the last 2 games after being frozen out for a period. Could this be the game that we see Chilwell come back into it?
I think I would get rid of him on the basis that I don't want a player who's 6 million to have to rotate.
Yeah, correct, exactly.
Me too. I mean, yeah, because it's not that Alonso didn't do well. Two games, 2 clean sheets, 1 goal.
Yeah,
so it's his place to lose, and unless Tuchel really wants to, give everyone a chance, then probably this is the chance that Chilwell might get. So personally, maybe I'll still keep for 1 week, but regardless whether he play or not, I'm just going to get rid of him after that as well.
He's got to go.
I mean, there could be a nice move. Sorry to interrupt. There could be a nice move and a way to save money if you go Chilwell to Rudiger, for example.
I'm going to give you another name. Ben Mee. Double game week next week. 4 really good fixtures. So if you don't have Nick Pope, Ben Mee.
Yeah, Ben Mee is the option.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. Interesting. Sorry, Shuri, you were going to say?
Yeah, that's what. I did move Chilwell to Cancelo last week, and the fact is that he's 6 million. If he doesn't start, it doesn't make a case for him. And the one thing that worked against Chilwell was the debut game, the first game under Tuchel. I think he was very bad, and I don't see that changing the fact. And I see Alonso continuing for a few weeks. And like Mariner said, Burnley defense is something a great option to consider. And if you don't have the option to get Nick Pope in, I think Ben Mee or Lawton or Tarkowski for that fact are very great options to consider, considering there's double coming up. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Kieran's on the stream. Kieran, how you doing, mate? Hope you had a good rest. A big day ahead. And Ali Sufyan, says he's got one free transfer for game week 23. One is McCarthy to Pope. The second one he can do is Robbo to anyone, please suggest. And we've just touched on that whole defensive area. Ben Mee would be the one that we suggest if you're looking to replace Robertson. And the third option is to roll the free transfer and get 2 free transfers for game week 24. The only reason I want to make the transfers is because of fear of missing out on the price change. Do we have to look a lot into price changes now? I mean, it's got to the stage where we can't even really predict it.
Yeah.
You know, even the little the hints that we get off of various websites. I mean, they're not as accurate as we'd like them to be.
You may as well just sit here flicking a coin as to work out where these prices are going. So I'd ignore the fact of missing out, fear of missing out, because quite frankly, you'll make the move and then the bloody price won't change.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah,
and I don't think COVID's the worry now like it was a few weeks ago. It seems like it is improving a lot in the UK. So maybe we're not quite so worried about that. But my personal view for Ali Sufyan here is I don't see any urgent move there. That's my perspective. I would.
What number one?
We know what's happening after the cup. After the cup drop.
What about the first one? First option?
I don't know. I mean, look, would you do that? He's only got 1 transfer. That means he's only got 1 for next week. If he uses that, he's only got 1 for next week. I think if you're going to need to do something, you're probably going to need to start thinking about what you're going to do next week. That's why I think it's nearly essential to go into next week with 2 transfers if you can. But there's a rumor or speculation that McCarthy might get dropped.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
I didn't know that. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, because I mean, it could be just Twitter talk, but it's something that I think was wrong because from the last time they had that heavy loss to Leicester, I think it was and he got dropped straight after. And McCarthy came in. So
against 12, like I said earlier. I don't
know. I don't think any of the goals McCarthy could have done.
Yeah. I mean, I'd feel a bit aggrieved if I was McCarthy if I got dropped for that. Because after that performance, because let's face it, he was playing, for what 88 minutes of the game, it was 10 against 11. But then what was it? When did Bednar?
I think about the 80th minute. 80th minute, I reckon.
Yeah, it's another 15 minutes or so with 9. So pretty difficult for him. If he is dropped, that's a different. If he could be dropped, that's a different question. But my honest view is, I would try and get to next week with 2 free transfers in your pocket.
Okay. So Alicia, I hope you're taking aboard the advice there from the boys. Vincent says, I'm still holding Kane. What should I do? I'm thinking of downgrading him to DCL and upgrading Mitchell to me in preparation for the double game week in 24. That's a bit of a weird one. I mean, it's been a while since Kane has been injured, but it's almost like he's coming back now. And would that be the right move to make, taking Kane out when he's on the verge of coming back into the side?
I'll go first. I probably would keep him now. The only thing I would say, and someone made the point on my show last night, is that Kane doesn't always come back firing straight away. Sometimes it takes him a little bit of a while to get going again. And he's so important to that team. So important, as we've seen. But I think if I was at this situation now, I'd keep him because I think DCL is probably not far off dead man walking in my team in a couple of weeks' time. Upgrading Mitchell to me, I think that's a reasonable choice. I just wish Mitchell was nailed, because if he was nailed, they've got a really good run of fixtures, but we can't work that one out either.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Mourinho did.
Yeah, go on. You can add to it.
But just to add, Mourinho did hinted that Kane might be fit or even half fit. I don't know, maybe start from the bench or something against West Brom. So, I mean, if you have kept him through all those price drops,
Yeah.
you know, why are you selling him now? Just keep.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's my take.
Okay, Keep Kane is the suggestion from the boys. I like this. I mean, we talk about differentials, and Antonio's a bit of a differential. This is one that's come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Pepe captain. What do you guys think? Now, I'm not going to laugh at it too much because I've seen it in the last couple of weeks, but he's actually picked up. It looks a decent player all of a sudden. But throwing the captaincy on him, boys.
Certainly not.
It says me answering it anyway.
I mean, just to own him is a huge differential and potential big risk. I mean, yes, he did took his goal well. But just can he produce consistently? And then against the Villa side, I don't know. I might be wrong, but go with your gut, I guess.
Fair play for owning him. I think that's particularly when he scored. I was surprised and actually looking at the numbers, I think he did. With respect to XG, he did really well. He was right up there last week. He was certainly a player I shouted out last night when I was looking through the highest performers of the week. But personally, I mean, I wouldn't be looking beyond Saka or probably Lacazette if I was looking at Arsenal at the moment.
Correct. Okay. Mariner, you have someone that's in agreement with you. I agree with Mariner since Bruno only provided the attacking returns after Southampton went down to 9 men. Southampton players were already fully demoralised during that phase of the game. I could be wrong, but I think did he get an assist before they went down to 9 men? He did,
probably,
right?
But they were demoralised by then, and I think he makes a very good point. Actually, you could almost take a percentage of returns off for the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, and the ninth goal as you go on. The goal that really matters are the goals when the other teams are playing, not when the other team's completely fed up and thinking of going home.
Yep.
Okay. Joseph O'Gorman asks, best Rodrigo replacement, Antonio or Watkins for me? Just wary of bringing in Antonio, who has a weaker fixture going into the doubles. Would captain Antonio over Souček, who is my captain currently? Boys. Now, this is a bit of a difficult one because we both fancy these two players. Most of us have both of them in our teams already. But if you had to pick one going in, we spoke about Watkins and Matt Ryan going in goal, having not played for a long time. David Luiz missing from the Arsenal backline. And we also talked about how good the stats are for Antonio, how much he's due a haul, and how bad Fulham are. Which way do you go with this?
I think if it's one, I think it's Antonio for me, at least for me.
Sorry?
At least if it's one player, I think it's Antonio. It's
Antonio for you? Yeah. Mariner?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think probably Antonio. The one thing I would say is Watkins is getting into better positions now and looks like he's started to put his finishing hat on a little bit, whereas as I say earlier on, without being too rude, he wasn't very good early part of the season. The one thing that slightly disappointed me, and I own Grealish and Martinez, is that Villa didn't get one of their double game weeks dropped in. I was really hoping they would, and they haven't yet. And so for that reason, I just think if Villa had a double game week, I'd probably go with Watkins. But because if it's a straight shootout between Antonio and Watkins, for me at the moment, it's Antonio. I think he's fixture proof.
Okay. Rohan Sharma asks, is Lingard a good option over Souček? Straight away, Sirius shaking his head. furiously. It's either that or you're moving your laptop around.
It's
But,
got a shape.
but it's either that or he's moving his laptop around like that. But I mean, Lingard had a debut to remember. I think. I mean, I can't imagine better debuts than that in the Premier League. I mean, we talk about your high-profile players, but to get 2 goals after not having played for such a long time, it was quite remarkable, really. And I think he almost lasted the whole game as well. But Souček is the man who delivers, as we all know. Would you pick Lingard over Souček, boys?
No, I mean Lingard. Yes, he scored 2, but if you look at the goals,
Martinez should have done better.
Martinez should have done. Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised Lingard got those goals. But if you look at Souček's goal, wow.
Yeah. That was third man running.
No, he's not stopping that, is he? He absolutely.
Yeah, that finish is the striker's finish.
Yeah. He made the run.
I'll just say one thing about Lingard. I mean, clearly it's too early, but what might play into this Antonio captaincy is they may actually have someone tricky enough to win a penalty now.
We don't. One of the main things is that we don't exactly know who takes.
No, we don't. I think we've got a possibility it could be Antonio. I still think he's taken them before, hasn't he?
Yeah, he took one against United last season. That's because he was chasing a record. Yeah, I know. I think it was after the 4-goal haul. He took one at Old Trafford. I evidently remember that.
All right. So no to Lingard over Souček for you, Rohan. Should I double up on City defenders or midfielders for double game week 24? Currently have Cancelo and Gundogan.
Let Joe answer this one.
Everton and both away to Everton and Arsenal. I mean, because you see, the problem with City assets when we look at their fixtures, we're all saying, thankfully I already have 3 City players, but will they all play? That's the biggest risk, So if you're looking at probably a combination that is nailed or fairly nailed, then probably you should double up on defense. That's just my take on it. Okay. If you want to capture the opportunity of, I think they have 3 possibility of 3 double game weeks.
Yeah, and not too far from each other as well.
Yeah, so when their midfield is definitely a minefield. I'm actually worrying for my own triple City as well because I have double midfields. But if I want to switch to double defense, it will probably be a bit wasteful in the free transfers. But if you have not, then I'll probably advise to go double defense.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Diaz actually from the point of view of being the most nailed. I own Cancelo and Gundogan, and I'm thinking of bringing Diaz in. The only thing which just worries me a tiny bit about putting that second City defender in is, I really can't wait to sell Mo Salah when KDB comes back. I can't wait. Pharaoh's revenge has really got me. I'm ready to axe him as soon as possible. That's the way I'm feeling at the moment. His form might have come back by the time I get to sell him. If that's the case, I'll keep him. But at the moment,
but just imagine the funds that you generate from that move. Incredible.
Well, but this is the whole point, you see, because if I put that third City player in defence, then that means I've got Gundogan, and that means I've got to do a double swap to get KDB in, not a single swap, right? Whereas I could just downgrade Salah straight to him. Whereas otherwise, I've got the problem of making an extra change. So it does confuse. It does cause you a little bit of a quandary there. But I do think, if you're looking at 3 double game weeks without KDB there, you've got Gundogan. We can't be certain what's going to happen with Sterling or anyone else. up there. So I think defence is the better option.
I'm going to captain Antonio this game week, but should we ignore Souček? He did score in the reverse fixture versus Fulham. Boys, definitely need your help here. Obviously, Antonio has a massive goal threat to him, but Souček's not too shabby either.
I don't think you can ignore Souček, and his numbers are pretty good. But I still maintain that we've seen Souček's heat maps. They can be a little bit all over the place. Some weeks he's right up there. Other weeks he's nowhere near. That's my thing. I think the simple thing is not as much as knowing my luck, Souček. I'm playing him this week, so he probably won't score. But there we go. So that means that I think Antonio's the better option because Souček can, from time to time, get into a little bit more of a withdrawn sort of role. But whilst he's still got a very, very good chance for something from a set piece, and clearly he gets forward. So it's a tough one, but I think Antonio would shave it for me.
Okay. Bit of a FOMO having no Antonio. Everyone in my mini leagues has, and then some haven't. I originally dropped from 30k to 50k a while. Have one free transfer and Kane on the bench. Bit is expected back sooner. I think that's meant to be, but is expected back sooner. Bring in Antonio or roll the free transfer. I think it's a bit tough without seeing his full team. But if it's a straight up swap, I mean, we did say earlier on, if you have him, Kane, that is, hold him and don't get rid. But if it's a straight swap for Kane to Antonio, does he do it? I mean, obviously this depends on his midfield as well and who else
his bench. And his bench.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, if you've got someone like Dallas sat first on the bench, you might, I think he's not a bad option to play this week. And Dallas is one of those players who does sit on the bench quite a bit, certainly for me. I'm not entirely sure on this one. Surya, what's your view?
I think it's a very, very tough one. Without seeing the team, I think it's tough to even put on this whole time. But yeah, I have no comment. It's a very tricky one without seeing that.
Gogo, we definitely need to see your team and your bench before we can answer that. So if you can get it in further down, we'll try to get to that before we end the show. Swain says, Pickford, the T-Rex that he is. FPL Mawapute says, hello guys, I had Cancelo and Stones. However, I also have Salah. Should I bench both City defenders? My other defenders are Justin, Dallas, and Sufal. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I like it. He's explained it properly.
Yeah. I mean, we have a clearer picture of his team. Definitely helps.
I mean, Justin, Dallas, and Sufal, they are having pretty great matchups. So, I would probably, because the City and Liverpool match is a bit unpredictable. Whereas, Justin, Dallas, and Sufal are great alternatives. So I would probably, benching both defenders is a bit tricky. I would probably play Cancelo.
Yeah.
Justin and maybe Sufal.
Yeah. I think
Sorry. I would play Cancelo, Dallas, and Kufal.
You Surya?
Yeah, I think I would slide it the same. Even though Cancelo doesn't get a clean sheet, I think his attacking potential is there. And Kufal is, as Lenz mentioned in yesterday's show, as well as he wrote on All About FPL, he's the little prince pick for this particular week, and he would love to exploit that left flank of Fulham. So I think I would go with Cancelo, Dallas, and Kufal. In fact, I'm going with the same three in my team. So yeah.
Okay. Me too. Yeah. That's my team as well.
So you're both dropping City defenders?
No,
keeping Cancelo. Sorry, do you have the double up on the City defense or not?
No, I have double up on City midfield, just like Zoo.
I only own two.
Yeah.
Okay. So you both only have one City defender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if
Okay.
it's the case that I had two, I would definitely bench Stones. Because,
Me too. Me too.
I'm benching Stones.
Okay. All right. So if you have two and Cancelo is one, definitely play them. Mariner and Surya reckon you should play Cancelo, Sufal, and Dallas. And Joe thinks you should play Cancelo, Sufal, and Justin. So up to you how you want to see this one. I'm just going to go through the rest of the questions. Good feedback. This is such a great show. Perfect to get some info in before the panic hour. Thanks. Thanks for watching, Joseph. Pleasure to have you on. And that's the beauty of it, of us doing it so close to the deadline. You have enough time to make your transfers. Listen to what we have to say. Just a shout out to everyone that's watching now. You have under an hour to make your transfers before the deadline. So if you are listening, do get them in. Do get your questions in. And we'll try to help you as much as we can, as always. Scrolling down and looking for, do we know, we kind of answered this, Bungle. Do we know if Antonio is on pens when Noble isn't on the pitch? We think he is, without having real concrete information on this.
But have they not won one this year? I don't think they've won one this year, have they?
I can't remember them taking one.
I don't think they have.
I know Noble is their designated penalty taker, but he's obviously on the bench now.
Good job. Good job.
Good job, yeah.
It's the definition of a walking wheelie bin.
I'm just trying to find any more questions. A lot of chat going on here, which is good, which is what we like to see. And obviously, Surya and Sweng are on. Not Surya, sorry. Sam and Sweng are on. So they're on. I'm just trying to find.
Yeah, I think just to add, West Ham currently this season they have 0 penalties.
Yeah.
And that's why I think maybe Lingard might bring that possibility and trickery of perhaps winning one. But they're due one sooner or later, aren't they? Let's face it.
Yeah, they are the only team that hasn't had a penalty.
Is Mike Dean refereeing them?
You're almost guaranteed one then.
Sorry, Craig. Sorry.
FPL Ame says, can we see Antonio being taken off as early as they play United midweek? Now, we know Antonio has a bit of a history with his injuries. Is there a danger he could be taken off?
I think they would prefer the league. Sorry. Yeah. I think they will prefer the league rather than FA Cup. I think they are in a very commendable position. So I don't see him being taken unless they are in a winning position, of course. If the game is won, I think he'll be taken off. Yeah. That's my stance.
And Mariner, I'm just going to say it's very score depending as well.
Yes,
when you think.
Yeah.
If the 3 or 4 and they look by 60 minutes, of course. I just hope he's got 2 or 3 of them.
Exactly. A lot to consider before we can make an exact kind of prediction on that. But we feel that he should play, should the scoreline still be in the balance. Robert Eng asks, can anyone let me know when was the last time City beat Liverpool in a league match at Anfield? I don't think this is that kind of show, Robert.
I'm checking now. I think.
Joe will get on it.
Go on, Joe, get on it.
I remember they were close until Mahrez decided to sky the penalty off to Mercy.
Yeah, the 90th minute. I remember that one.
I think that went to Goodison Park. I think he missed it so badly.
I think it was 2018. 2018 in the Champions League.
What about the Premier League? I think he's asking about the league match.
Premier League, 2018 January. I think Man City won 4-3. I think.
Okay. So not too long ago, 3 years ago, since City last won there, according to Joe. I don't know this. I haven't got this verified. Joe's not too confident in his response either. We're going to move on to the next question. FPL Matcha, how are you doing? Question, Loughton or Shaw plan to bring in Pope next week?
Yeah, if the plan is to bring Pope next week, I would suggest Shaw for this week. Brilliant numbers. I tried to bring him in, but somehow I couldn't. But Shaw has amazing numbers. And if Pope is coming in next week, I think that should be Shaw would be my answer.
See, Mariner, you're nodding your head there.
Yeah, I wouldn't double up on them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't double up on Burnley. I'd go with Pope, but I won't double up on them. The numbers are not that great, but Pope, they concede a heck of a lot of shots, but Pope saves them, or saves a lot of them. So that's my perspective. I think let's face it, Loughton, I don't think he creates much going forward, but let's face it, neither do Burnley. Yeah. So I think realistically, any chances of bonus points as firmly and squarely with Nick Pope. So that's the way I would go. And Shaw, as we've said, is really, really pulling the numbers out. His numbers are fantastic. Don't be put off by him being taken off early last week, in my opinion.
Vincent asks, what do you think of Burnley's clean sheet chances versus Brighton? I'm thinking about taking a hit, doubling Tarkovsky and me, but I have Cancelo, Diaz, Dallas, Soufal to begin with. We just spoke about that double up and how we're not all for it. Would you take a hit for that? No. Yeah, plain and simple. No to that, Vincent. Kartik asked, Robbo, Cancelo, Stones, Soufal, Rudiger, which of the three would be good to start this game week?
I think Cancelo, Soufal, Rudiger would be my two.
Yep, me too.
Agree.
Okay.
Craig, I just want to add. I just want to correct my statement just now. I think
of course.
Man City won Liverpool at Anfield. The last time is in 2003. In the Premier League.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the viewers won't remember that.
Surya, were you around then? Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been 5 years old.
I was 33.
Adi asked, Barnes or Callum Hudson-Odoi? Surya, pick one.
Oh my God, this stuff. I still not convinced that Hudson-Odoi has a spot nailed. And I'm a bit hesitant with both of them, so I'm not the good one to pick one of this. I'm passing this to Madner. Yeah.
Nice one. That's the definition of team right there.
Yeah, that's great. Pass the book to the old goat who sits in Singapore.
The wise head.
The old wise. Well, no, don't ask me for a tip. That's the way I've been doing recently. I think Sheffield U have been doing an awful lot better, to be honest, defensively. I don't know that they're going to give Hudson-Odoi the sort of space that he revels.
I would say this though, Ampadu will be missing out, and he's been one. Well, it's really
right? Tight. It's really tight. If you were asking Lens, he would go Callum Hudson-Odoi immediately because he can't stand Barnes. I'm a little bit more on the fence here. It's a really tough one. Maybe if I just purely looked at the matchup here, attack against defence, it is actually Leicester who are slightly better. So that's the way I'm going to go.
Okay. So Barnes for you, Joe?
I prefer Barnes because Callum Hudson-Odoi he's playing well, but will he be rotated?
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible, isn't it?
Yep.
Because did they change the formation last week? I think they might have done, didn't they, a little bit?
I'm not too familiar, but
I thought they might have. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have another look at that because it's something I'm quite interested in. I do like to look at Hudson-Odoi, and anyone who brought him in, it's a nice move. It's just an early move, and I think with Tuchel and the way he is at the moment, we're still not entirely sure what they're doing, are we? Whereas I think Harvey Barnes is pretty nailed.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We're going to move on to Robert Ernst's question. Should I start either Salah or Gundogan, or maybe even both, and hope for a high-scoring game?
I mean, looking at the records, they don't usually score that many goals. But both are penalty takers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you might have a penalty or two. Yeah, I would, if possible, I'll play both.
I am.
Play both.
I
Yeah.
am
Yeah,
playing
I'm
both.
playing both.
All in agreement, play both?
Yeah.
I am playing both, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is an interesting one. Who should I buy, Harrison or Rafinha?
Can I answer this? I was going to say, can I answer this one?
Yeah, sure.
If you go to the screen, here's something I prepared earlier. It's a bit like Blue Peter. Hang on, have you got it?
Hold on. Let me get it up for you.
You just hide the question.
Yeah.
So on the left, you've got Rafinha. This is Credit Fantasy Football Hub. And on the right, you've got Harrison. So Rafinha's in blue, Harrison's in red. Rafinha smashes Harrison out the park with respect to statistics. Absolutely hammers him out the park. The most interesting thing I see here is the number of crosses. 28 crosses.
Wow.
Right? An average of 6 crosses a game. And they're playing Palace, who concede headers for fun.
Headers, yeah.
I think there is a very, very good chance of assist from Rafinha this week. In fact, he is my captain differential, which I put up on the show last night for that reason. Yeah. But if you look for those red boxes, virtually visually, it tells you it's Rafinha. I'm actually quite concerned I don't own him because I would love him for 25. But Joe and I have already discussed this. We've got an absolute nightmare on our hands because as much as I want him for 25, we both hold our bench boost. And then he's only got a single game week in 26. And then he's got a fixture in 29. It's a
that's classic dilemma.
Yeah. It's a massive dilemma. But no, if you're talking about this question, Rafinha all day.
Okay, Rafinha it is. One Zohanwi, if you're still watching, or if you're going to go back to it later on, you don't have long. But Rafinha is the man that you should be buying. Vincent says, I have 5 captain blanks in a row. How to get out of this? Help me. Is Ben Me the way to break through? I don't think he's the answer to your problems, definitely.
No. The rule is don't follow me. The rule is don't follow me.
Follow Oliver.
Do you get that? Don't follow me.
Yeah. I get that. I heard that. It's catching on a bit now. Ben Me is not the way to break through that, so don't bother captaining him. Stick to the metric. Fernandez is top. Antonio is third on the metric, but quite a few of the boys are captaining him. So there you go. Wanzo Helmi, who's the best asset for Burnley defenders? We did speak about this. The boys say don't double up on Burnley defenders. If you're going to bring in Pope, do that as he's a BPS magnet. And Ben Me. If you're looking for a defender, Ben Me is the man. Ali Sophia and Rafinha or Sterling for double game week 24. Already you have Bamford, Dallas, Gundogan, and Cancelo. Well, game week 24, do you trust Pep enough to play Sterling for both matches?
But I think Rafinha plays game week 20, double game week 25.
Yes.
25 was it?
He's double 25.
So for 24, it would be Sterling, Ali Sufyan. Agreeing with that, right? Yeah. Don't care about price changes this season. You shouldn't. Martinez and Topowski and me, or Pope, Sufal and me.
I think me and Manor are agreeing with the fact that doubling up is not a good option. Yeah,
but if I was, it would be Pope, Kufal, and me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, Pope, Sufal, and me would be the option, but they highly recommend you don't double up.
I wouldn't do either, personally.
Wouldn't do. Now that's the hardest injured. Any Crystal Palace strikers interest you?
No.
I mean, if anything, you'd probably go for Eze, maybe.
I was going to say, let's be easy about this. Possibly.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, they're busted flush without Zaha, aren't they?
Yeah.
The fact there's so many good options in that price range, I don't see going
I
anywhere.
see why you have to go with Palace on this. Davindra Raj, after a bad punt last game week, no guts like the boys to go with Antonio captain. Convince me otherwise. I think the boys have earlier on.
Yeah, but convince me otherwise. He hasn't got the guts to do it. Well, if he wants to try and find the cat, he can skin him. If he doesn't, the cat's picked him.
Davindra, if you joined us late, do scroll back earlier on in the show. We did bring out some stats on why Antonio should be the guy to captain. However, he is third on the captaincy metric, and the cat picked Bruno, who also topped.
Remember, the reason that Fernandes is so high in that metric is because he played against 9 men and scored those goals and got those returns in the times I drank a cup of coffee. So, don't forget, this is why, think about Southampton. Don't completely discount Southampton defence. They're the worst with respect to stats for the last 6 games because of one game. Take that away, they're a mid-table side with respect to stats.
Yeah,
so
heavily skewed.
Yeah, so as much as I'm a numbers man. As much as I look at the numbers, and and I do follow the metrics sometimes, I think that metric has over-egged Bruno. How many blanks has he had in the last few weeks? Quite a few.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite a few.
Virgil van Dijk says take 2 out: Stones, Diaz, Gundogan, Calvert-Lewin, and Matt Target.
Take 2 out.
Yep.
Stones and Target.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would definitely take Target out because Villa are off a cliff defence-wise, and I think Stones. Yeah, I think Diaz. Well, mind you saying that. If you're looking for attacking returns at the moment, it's Stones, isn't it? But maybe it's Diaz who's perhaps due. I don't know.
Maybe.
So Target and Stones, I would take out if it was me.
I'm just trying to go through. Would you start Gundogan or Calvert-Lewin? Mark asks.
Gundogan, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, Gundo.
Decision I've had to take, and I'm going with Gundo. I've got Calvert-Lewin on the bench.
Me too, first off.
He's going to kill me, I know it. But
Calvert-Lewin on the bench?
Yeah, he's on my bench.
Okay.
But that don't mean anything, mate, after the last few weeks I've had.
iClark2400 asks, keep and play Rashford this week or sell for Son, who has West Brom at home?
I look, my personal view here, and this is, I could have brought Son in this week and I didn't. I may be made to pay for it. It's a classic fixture over form conundrum. Classic. Probably the biggest one of the entire season.
Yep.
And you're not bringing Son in.
And
I read somewhere Spurs are shit, West Brom are even shittier.
No, you're right. And if I was to, the move that I was going to make was that my move was to bring Son in, 100%. And I could have, I would have probably sold Salah to do it. But no, I don't know. Keep and play Rashford against Everton. I mean, Rashford's not tearing any trees up either, is he?
He isn't. No.
Tough. I don't think I would. I don't think. Again, it depends how many transfers he's got. But I mean, if Kane comes back, then Son and Kane by 26 is going to be important. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Last few questions before we end it. Sorry, just to clarify on this, what are you going to do, Surya?
Sure. I think you're putting me in a tricky situation. I thought you're going past this one, but you're not giving.
You can't get away from it.
Serious? I'm not just going to let you off the hook like that.
I'm not going to let him off. I'm not going to let him off the hook after he gave me Pereira for a differential captain.
Go on, Surya, quick. We've got less than half an hour before the deadline.
I think if I had the courage, I'd bring Son in, but I don't have that, unfortunately. So, yeah. I think Rashford isn't doing any good. So, maybe sell. Maybe.
So,
I think if you're going
Son.
to bring Son in, captain him.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
That's what I would say.
You go all in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't just bring him in for fear of missing out. Bring him in to try and make something.
Yeah.
FPL Pacino wants to say a big thank you for the advice in double game week 19 to take a hit to bring Stones in. All the best for the game week, guys. Go Antonio. Seems like we've managed to convince quite a few to jump aboard that Antonio bandwagon. Virgil van Dijk, Arsenal, Southampton, double in both 25 and 26. Just 25, right?
I think they have 26 as well.
It's not confirmed yet for 26.
Yeah, it's not confirmed yet.
They're likely.
26. They need Tottenham to beat Everton, or if Southampton beat Wolves so it's at the moment they're down as a possible double game week at the moment. Blank 72% for a blank. So yeah, probably they will. It's more likely probably they will have a double than not.
Okay, so you reckon that they will have a double? Yeah,
I think so. But I mean, it's
depending on the results from the cup, right?
Well, of course, but I mean, it's difficult to say. The one thing I will say is they have a likely double game week in 27 as well. That's why Southampton don't ignore Southampton. That's the one thing I've been saying. It wouldn't be out of this world for me to bring someone like Vestergaard in or someone like that. I'm not completely out of it.
Virgil van Dijk says, I feel this game week will be one of them 40-point hauls. I'm not going to lie, I have that feeling too. I
think Antonio will get 40 points. There we go. That's
for the bench, DCL, Dallas, Stones, benching in that order. Good to go, boys?
Yep.
Okay. Bungle says his team, Gundogan, Salah, Bruno, Souček, Bamford, DCL, bench is Target, Kane, Bissouma. This is going back to his previous question earlier on in the show. I forgot what his question was now.
It was a tricky one. It was something like
I think the one he asked about whether to bench Kane or to bring Antonio in.
I put Kane first bench. I put Kane first bench there.
Kane first bench?
Kane first bench, yes.
Okay.
I might even put Kane in DCL.
Well, you could do, and just see if he doesn't play, then drop him out. That's right.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's got Bamford and DCL. So I don't know. It's interesting.
But I think his question was whether to bring in Antonio with a free transfer.
Right. It's a little bit.
Yeah.
Thanks for putting us right, Joe. It's this sunburn.
So would you take Kane out for Antonio?
I mean, if of all the game weeks, I think this is the game week to do that, and captain him as well. Go all in.
There we go. No fear at all by Joe there. Go all in. Throw those chips on the table.
The hitman strikes again.
Not my team.
Joe, you really must get back to the doctors and take those tablets again.
So we good, boys. Do we agree with that? Take Kane out for Antonio and captain him?
I don't know. It depends on how long he's owned him for and things like that. If he's due back in a couple of weeks or a week or so, it could be a catastrophe.
Okay, so you got Boggo, I'm going to make this easy for you. You've got two options. You can take Kane out for Antonio.
You can.
Captain him if you do. But if you don't, play him, put DCL as your first bench option and just hope he plays. Moving on, Astrolicious, you have to bench between three: Diaz, Stones, Digne, Gundogan, Saka, and DCL. You have to bench three between Diaz, Stones, Digne, Gundogan, Saka, and DCL.
I think Stones, Digne, and DCL for me, because Saka is a very good match. I think.
Yeah.
I would definitely play Saka. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean he could have scored. I think.
Yeah,
he was really unlucky. He was really unlucky against Wolves. Okay, so bench Stones, bench DCL, and bench.
Mm-hmm.
Stones, Deeney, and DCL would be on my bench.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Castagna out with a hamstring. Return of Pereira. It looks like it.
The right Pereira. Sorry. The right.
Boys, I don't want to throw a spanner into the works, but Vincent has come up with this. Saw some rumors about Antonio being benched. Surely it's rubbish.
Yeah. Sure.
I've not seen anything.
Where's my little troll image from last night? It's on the screen right now.
Play Dallas or me. Wilson or Gundogan.
Callum Wilson. Oh God.
Play Dallas.
Okay, boys, we've got to speed it up a bit. We've got
It's all right for you. You're not answering the question.
I'm not. That's why you get paid the big bucks, mate.
So Dallas or me? I'd play Dallas.
Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Wilson or Gundogan? I'd play Gundogan.
Okay.
I cannot bring myself to play Callum Wilson. Quite frankly, I'd sooner leave. I'd sooner play an 4 on the bench.
Okay. Moving on. Oyster Fortune says, play Diaz, Gundogan or DCL?
Gundogan.
Gundogan. Okay, perfect. Sorry, we're really going to speed things up here, guys. Who would be the first sub between DCL, Deeney, and Stones? Benching DCL. Great. The attacker. Mark, hi. Anything you can think I should change for this weekend? Sanchez, Rudiger, Dallas, Soufal. Seems all right from there. Salah, Sterling, Fernandez, Eze, Calvert-Lewin, Bamford, Watkins, and then Martinez, Gundogan, Stones, Mitchell. Gundogan on the bench, though. Boys.
I would start him ahead of DCL probably, but that's me.
Yeah.
Rafinha in for Eze.
Rafinha's not there.
Is he? No, I'd bring him in. Rafinha in for Eze.
I know, he's just asking who he should start, I think.
Who I should change. Anything I should change.
Yeah.
Well, if I would do to change, I would bring Rafinha in. He's got a double game week. Eze, they're toothless without Zaha, and Rafinha is absolutely tearing trees up.
Okay, so bring in Rafinha from Mariner for Eze. Joe?
I would probably play Gundogan for Eze.
Play Gundogan over Eze from Joe and Surya.
Yeah, I would bring in Gundogan for DCL.
Yeah,
Gundogan for DCL. Yeah, that's another good one. That's a good move. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. My plan was to bring in Rafinha for double game week on 25, but is it worth to bring him in already this week to play him over DCL? It's what the boys have just said. Yes, is the answer for that.
So. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So do that if you can. By the way, boys, we just hit 300 subs. Congrats. Well done, boys. We've done it. Fantastic stuff. Thank you to everyone who supports the channel. Really appreciate it, as well as everyone who contributes to it, especially the 3 guys here and the ones that aren't with us today. Ankit Deb, Mitchell 2, any suggestions? Shaw, me, Justin, already have Pope. By me, okay. This is, we talked about the double up on Burnley. We don't recommend it. Shaw has to be the one, right?
Yeah, correct. So.
Yeah, I can't bring Justin in, not now. It's too late.
Yeah. Okay, so Ankit, if you're still watching, bring in Shaw if you can. By the way, boys, not too long to go. I'd say about 20 minutes. It's 25 on the clock, but you always got to factor in a bit of app crashing and things like that. A lot of traffic going to the website. Wanzo Homie, thank you. You guys are the best. No, thank you for watching and supporting the channel. Devinder Raj, Mariner, I was half convinced yesterday, but I am now fully with Antonio. Boys, we've done it. We're building it up. I don't think it's a good thing, but if we die, we're all going down together. Heikel asked, Robbo to AWB or Justin? I think the boys have answered that one. AWB would be the pick. They say stay away from Leicester defence for now if you're bringing them in. Shamil asks, should I bench one of Son, Salah, Bruno, or Gundo for Souček?
Oh, I'd probably play 5 across midfield.
I don't even want to ask him what his strikers are because
I don't know. That's a tough one. I think I'd play them all.
Yeah, play them all, boys. Yeah.
Yeah, if possible. If not, then probably Gundo.
Gundo
Yeah,
for
Gundo.
Souček, yeah. Against a Fulham side, interesting. Mariner, you have someone that you can.
He is correct.
Yeah,
he's a really nice guy, though. He's a really nice guy. He's just not very nice to me.
Vincent says, great show. Congrats, everyone. Make it 30K subs soon. I hope so. That is the dream, but we're far long way from that. So, yeah, but we'll work towards that, no doubt. Last couple of questions, boys. Virgil van Dijk, would Kane or Vardy be the better double game week player for future as well as normal fixtures?
Kane,
any day of the week. I think Kane's fantastic. He obviously brings a lot to the Spurs side. So Kane all round, yeah?
Yeah, I think for best double game week, I mean, it looked like they should have quite a decent double game week in 26, shouldn't they? Burnley and then Aston Villa, Fulham or Southampton. So I think I would go. Leicester would have, if they had a double, would be Arsenal and Burnley. Still not bad.
Yeah. Okay. Last two. Go back to Shamil's one. His strikers are Antonio, Watkins, and Bamford. So that was his midfield. He can't. Does he play 5 across still? Who does he drop? Watkins. Watkins.
Yeah, probably. Although,
yeah. Joe, you're shaking your head.
It's tough. No, I'd play Bamford for sure. I'd play Antonio for sure. So the process of elimination with that would be Watkins, but that's a tough decision. He's got 8 good players there.
Yeah. Okay, last question before less than 20 minutes to go before you can make your transfers, boys. Eshan asked, Pope, Justin, Cancelo, Soufal, Souček, Fernandes, Gundogan, Salah, Grealish, Bamford, Antonio captain. Thoughts? Go for it.
Good to go.
Good to go. Good to go. All right. Yeah. Boys, thank you. It's been a very long one, longer than I anticipated, longer than I expected. So thank you so much for hanging in there. And thank you, everyone that's been watching the stream. I have been looking at the numbers. They've been very good. And thank you all for subscribing as well. We have been told that we've hit 300 above. So that's always nice to know. If you are watching the stream and you haven't, please do subscribe down below. Please hit the notification bell as well so you get informed every time we put some content up. I'm going to say thank you to Mariner for joining us. Thank you for all your time and effort, as always.
No worries, mate. Good luck, everybody.
And Joe, thank you. Thank you, first of all, for not taking any hits this week. Thank you for your time, as always, and thank you for your input.
Good to be here.
And Surya, thank you. I know you've been struggling throughout the show. You've got a bit of a cold there, so I hope you do recover quickly and get better soon. But thank you for soldiering on throughout the show. And you see, thank you for your input and your advice.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Nice catching up once again. I look to be regular once again, hopefully. Yeah.
Yes, you will, no doubt. And thank you all for watching once again. It's been a great time. You've got less than 20 minutes to make your last minute transfers to decide on who you're going to give the captaincy to. Game week 23 is fast and approaching us. So do scroll back through the show if you still have questions that you haven't had answered. And I'm sure we have covered it. So please do have a look back. You don't have long, so make it quick. Get there before all the traffic goes towards the app and to the website. We wish you all the best for Game Week 23, and may the FPL gods be with you. Good luck, everyone.